Perfect. Hi, Sadhana. How are you? It's good to finally. I know. Yeah, fantastic. Are you enjoying Bali now? Yeah, yeah. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's like extremely beautiful. Yeah. Exactly. Well, you'll find out on Wednesday when I meet you. Don't worry. Yeah. Singapore's fantastic. I can't complain. But Singapore's been pretty mundane. I think it's the usual thing in Singapore, nothing too exciting and nothing too boring. So it's been very consistent all the way. That's why I enjoy. That's why I enjoy Singapore. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I was actually born in Singapore. I'm Singaporean. Yeah, yeah. So I come back here pretty often. Yeah, yeah. I come back here pretty often. My house is here. So I come back here once in a while. My company is here. My business is here. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So exactly, man. Let me get this started. I think what we're discussing today for a lot of our listeners and our followers, firstly, welcome and thank you so much for joining us and taking your time off in the afternoon to be with us, or even the evening, no matter where you are in the world. We want to thank you. Today, starting off, it's taken some time out. I think both of us have taken some time out of our schedule to discuss the possible options for additional nomads to move to the US, the United States. I think there's been a lot of discussions between the nomad community, and I think it's the best person to dispel all of this, all of the questions you guys have, all of the worries you guys have will be Stars now, who will briefly introduce himself after this. I am Rukesh. I'm the founder of Digital Nomads Asia. We are probably the largest digital nomads community in the world by now. We have over 500,000 people spread across Asia. So I've been blessed to actually have this conversation with Stars now. And I'll let you lead and introduce yourself, Stars now, and I will jump in along the way to ask you a few questions. Fantastic. Beautiful. Thank you. All right. I got to ask the exam question, the $1 million question everyone wants to ask. You know, dish nomads love sunshine, the weather, the beach, the coconuts. And why is US? And why do you think the US is a very viable option for digital nomads today? I love Miami. Don't worry. I love Miami. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mm. Starting, according, I think there's an issue with my sound. They can't hear me. I think, is there a setting on your end that you have to? Some, I got a comment saying that they can't hear me. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, they hear you.
That's very strange. Okay, let me.
Yeah, I
Okay.
find it a bit strange as well.
Okay. I think now ask them if they hear you. It should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it should be good. I knew I should have met with my IT people, the Alfred, and I said we look good. They know
Oh,
better.
yeah,
IT
exactly what
people
I
know
so.
better.
I told Evelyn earlier we should jump on a call 10 minutes earlier just to test.
Yeah, yeah, but
That,
I
that,
think now
that was
should be
my
good.
concern.
Now should be good.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's carry on where we left off in it because there might be people who are watching us on the live as well. So basically, all right, I understand where you're coming from in regards to, of course, having a community. I mean, the US has given you access to a lot more things. So you came in the East Coast or the West Coast,
Yeah.
where business opportunities are different versus, like saying in Bali, of course, you might only be very centralized in say if you have in Canggu, for example, it's a different type of people. In Ubud, it's different type.
Yes.
In Amed or in Seminyak, it's all different. But I think I ask you, what is it about the US? Of course, I get the access, but I think every country, like you mentioned earlier, is true. Everyone's got its flaws and the positive things as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think potentially? Because I see a lot of digital nomads nowadays starting their own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
They are becoming more than just an individual nomad, you know?
Yes.
And back a long time ago, I always make a joke when you're a nomad, you're just alone. You carry your laptop and you go in a cafe and you work.
Yeah.
But today, all these are startup founders, they are business owners, they have remote teams working all across the globe. And a lot of them normally don't have a centralized country where they base themselves
Mm-hmm.
or they base countries or base their taxes or whatever. I don't want to get too much into Texas because it's a whole different thing altogether. But why well, I have a feeling that of course Singapore might be a good place, but also I still believe the United States gives them a lot of options. Do you think you want to share a thing or two about that one as well?
Uh, so your question goes. Can you rephrase your question?
It's more about digital nomads
Mm-hmm.
who are business owners today,
Right.
who have luxury and the capabilities to go to the US and start something new for their business,
Right.
for the company, or even for themselves. I mean, the questions I want to ask around is what are the visa options they have? Number one, that's an
Mm-hmm.
exam question I want to ask.
Yes.
Number two, I want to ask, so what is it in it for them besides the accessibility to certain things, to VC funds or to 100% income every day of the year? But also, what more is there besides the community aspect of it?
Yes.
So
So yeah.
question one is visa options. Question two is will it be convenient? How easy for them to do business?
So extremely easy. Extremely easy. US is the country that, and I'm coming from Russia originally, right? I lived in the US for 20 past years, so I even consider myself more American than Russian. But because I know how things go in Russia and how regulated the business and organization of the business, and pretty much like think of it like the like Russian IRS, like the tax agency, they want to know each transaction in the business. That's insane. That's like that's crazy. In the US, it's like it's deregulated basically. So it's easy to set up the company. It's easy to set up the bank account. It's easy to start conducting your business, and no one is going to raid your business. No one is going to attack you based on your political views or whatever that is. So it's like the full democracy in action. So that thing is very, very easy. Number one. Number two, what's there on top of the community and investment and opportunities for particular person? And I get the answer to that, because that's how I was thinking when I was going to the US. Because a lot of our clients, talented, successful people, and I know a lot of digital nomads are successful in their lives, but what about our children? We don't know what opportunity is going to be available to them in the future, in whatever country that could be. But the US provides for all those opportunities in the future, and we can be sure that our kids, our children actually have that future. Okay. Add on top of that good education, add on top of that good medicine and the technology and all things like that. So when somebody thinks about moving to the US, they shouldn't consider only themselves, but they should consider the extended family that will be in the future. At some point, it's going to happen if it's not happening right now. So I think that's very important. That's very, very important. And on top of that is just the soil, the business soil in the US. It's fertilized. You know, it's if you are a little bit above the average, you like almost guaranteed the success, right? Like if you put like a little bit more effort than the average person, you will be fine. So I think those are the main reasons why people wanna come, regardless if they're business owners or they're just working for somebody else.
Yeah.
And as to your question to the visa types, there are a few visas available to digital nomads. And
can we break this down very clearly, so that, because
Absolutely.
this is a very important point. So
Yes.
let's break it down. Let's say, as a remote worker, digital nomad, what are your visa options? And then let's say, I'll then ask you a question after. I think this is the important part of the entire conversation we should have.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, let's talk about remote worker, digital nomad. One guy, single show, or lady, single show, who wants to move to the US and start their life there all of a sudden. So let's start with the options they have for visa.
Okay, so there are three main options, the main ones. There's more, but we want to cover the realistic things, right? Of course, we can be like discussing $1 million investment, but right, like who's got that million? I do believe that there is one visa that is just the best option for digital nomads for many, many reasons, and that visa is called O1 visa. Okay, O1 visa, and that's the talent visa. And I may already hear the thoughts of many people who listen to us online or offline after we record this, and they're like Stanislav, Rukesh, like, come on, like, I'm not talented. I'm just doing my work. I'm a professional, and I have no talents. Well, that's not true. That's not true. And I will show why many of those digital nomads are talented people. But before that, I want to explain that O1 visa, the talent visa, it's non-immigrant. Okay? And that's important because especially for people who never came to the US or never or not sure if they wanna like connect to the country on a more deeper level, which is like a green card, the residency, and commit to the country. So O1 visa is easier to get. You can become your own employer. so you don't have to have an employer. And it's an excellent option to rapidly come to the US, and rapidly means within 8 months from the start of the case. And you will have 3 years to understand if US is your country. Okay, so all these 4 reasons, they make this this visa is so enticing. And and to be honest, Rakesh, between you and me, is that I've done hundreds upon hundreds of O1 visas since beginning of my career. And by the way, my approval rate for O1 visa is 99%. So basically, if I pick up the case, it's gonna be approved. So because they 3 years, the period when people can choose what they want to do with their lives afterwards or during the O1 visa, I extended this 3-year period for those hundreds upon hundreds visas, maybe 3 to 5 times. Why? Because everybody else got the green card. Okay, so the potential.
Just in case people are watching don't understand what a green card is, Stanislav, you want to explain what a green card is?
Absolutely, the green card is the residency in the U.S., meaning that you can live, work with no limitation. And the green card is in 5 years may lead to the U.S. passport, to U.S. citizenship. So these are the steps in the U.S. immigration process. Work visa, it's not necessary step, but it often is. Then the green card, and then the citizenship. Okay, the reason why I share these statistics because I want to show that people who come to the US, they get sucked in. Okay, it's like once you're here and understand, maybe first year, like 6, 12, 18 months, maybe you have nostalgia and you're like, oh my God, it was so much better in your country or whatever. But it takes only one trip back, a short trip back to see the contrast. Okay, and that was me. It was many of other people, and you don't see those things when you're in the US. They become so natural and organic. But once you make that trip back to your country or wherever you were before, that's when you really see the difference. So if we do O1 visa, and now I'm going to explain the criteria and all that, we always, even if my client says, Stanislav, I don't need the green card, don't worry about that, let's just get O1 and I'll go back to my country. I know that's gonna change most likely. So I already built the strategy in the case. So if, and I know it's not if, it's when, they decide to stay, we have a good foundation to help them to do this. So that's what O1 visa, conceptually, it gives those opportunities to see if you like it or not. Now, what O1 visa, the talent visa, consists of? You, Rukesh, I think you're a talented person, right? But you know,
I wish my staff would say the same thing also.
Right, but you know, John from Austin, he doesn't think so, right? Or somebody else. So how do we come up to the middle ground and understand if you, Rukesh, is a talented person? So the American Immigration Service, they face that question. How do we know if a person is talented? Because it's so subjective, right? So they came up with the measure, with a ruler, if you want, a measure of the talent. What is that measure? These are the 8 criteria. Okay, so there are 8 criteria, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we need to prove at least 3 of them. If we prove 3 out of the 8 by our choice, which we can choose any one of them, the USCIS is going to approve the petition, right? So now, what are those criteria? I'm going to list them first and then talk about each one of them in short because we're limited with time, and each criterion could take like an hour to explain, but I will be nice and short, I promise. It's awards, the press articles about us and our work, professional associations, judging the work of other professionals, contribution in the field of the profession, critical leading role in an organization with distinguished reputation, commercial success, meaning good income, and academic articles. Okay, so 8 criteria. Now, I understand some of them may sound also daunting, like Stanislav, academic articles, like, oh God, I'm so far from academia, like I want to do my coding and whatever. So I can tell you guys right now, because we specialize in this type of visas, we build the whole infrastructure on the basis of my corporation to bring you the resources and tools and instruments to improve on almost each and one of those criteria. For example, the academic articles, the articles in the press, and oftentimes judging engagements and associations, those could be worked on with the help of PR agencies. So even if we didn't have any basis for that before, and we build the whole process, the whole structure, the synergy between us and the PR agencies that work with our company to make it smooth and comfortable process to improve on the petition, on the future filing. So the bottom line of, and I will tell a little bit later about the free evaluation, guys. The one, if you listen to this webinar right now, we will be offering the free evaluation of your cases at the end of the session. So you will know if you have the potential. But I can tell you right now, all of you have at least 2 criteria to begin with. Some of you have more. What are those that we have? The critical leading role in organization with distinguished reputation, because all digital nomads work for a company, for a project, or for themselves. And all those companies with high chances have a good reputation in the field. And if we work there, we either control it and direct, so it's a leading role, or we play an important function in that company. That's the critical role. It could be a hybrid, this and that. And I know for a fact that all digital nomads make better money than other people, than other professions. So those 2 criteria are kind of set in stone. So add to these articles, press, and judging engagement, or maybe professional association, or maybe contribution in the field, because sometimes the product or the service that we work on, it's used in the industry, right? So, yeah. And if we get 5, 6 criteria out of the 8, that's even closer to the green card than to O1, because O1 is much easier to prove. But there you go. Like most of those who listen to us right now have that 99% chance to get approval. So what about awards? Awards, hackathons for IT people, datatones for people dealing with clouds and data, all these kind of things. Or if some people are in academia and like to go to conferences and deliver the papers, that also could be alternative ways to get the awards in the case. We have and we know the professional associations that we can recommend to our clients to become a member of that will satisfy the criterion of professional association. So, and the reason I'm talking more about like IT people and STEM in general, like engineers, architects, graphic designers, cybersecurity, blockchain, because that's the majority of the nomads, right? That's the big
Not
chunk.
really. I think that has changed a lot. That's a portion of them. I think a huge portion today that you will get a lot of this question about later from me. The STEM demographic is, I think, they are skill sets. They qualify for some of the standards that you asked for, the 8 different pattern. I think it's a huge percentage of them who are also just content creators or
like bloggers and influencers. Yes, yeah. I agree. I agree.
Exactly. And it's a huge portion. It's a huge portion of them.
Yeah.
I think that is a very underserved community. I always say this.
It is.
And that community don't really make the kind of money that what I call your data analysis, your cybersecurity guys, your coders. Yeah. They don't make the same kind of money that demographic makes. So
So
how
let me
about
let
these
me
guys?
let me address that. And Rukesh, thank you for bringing this up because actually that's also what I don't know the proportion, and it's impossible to know, right? Like you don't get that statistics, but I do agree that you have a lot of bloggers, influencers, like a lifestyle, whatever.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
work with this type of profession all the time. I just got
Yeah.
the fresh approval for EB1A, and that's the green card, right? And by the way,
Mm.
we kind of talk about O1 and EB1 almost interchangeably because the criteria is the same, right?
Yeah.
But the burden of proof is much more for EB1A. So I just got a fresh approval for EB1A for influencer. That's the YouTuber, and the lady is focusing on cooking, right?
Mm.
So she's a blogger, but she has her food whatever cooking channel. So
Yeah.
we got her in, right? And a funny fact, she came to us from a different attorney who has no idea about the proper way to file, and she got a denial with the prior one. We got her in, right? So that
Wow.
happens all the time in O1. And by the way, for the influencers and bloggers, it's not O1A, the criteria which I described, but O1B. So there's like the two categories, right? And I suggest nobody worry about the naming, right?
Mhm.
Just trust my professional experience and my judgment. Similar criteria, maybe even easier than O1A. It's a little bit less, it's 6, but they're easy to prove. So
Mm.
those type of people, lifestyle, cooking, travel, specific blogging about, I don't know, the computers or whatever that is,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
we can get them in. We can get them in. And the fact that they don't make a lot of money does not really bother me because we have other criteria, right? We don't have to use
Mm.
that. We can just completely skip it and focus on other criteria.
Mm. Okay. So these guys are also able. So it's even playing field for both, whether you're a coder and whether you're a content creator. There's always an opportunity to get into the US.
Absolutely,
Or,
because O1 visa has 5 categories: business, science, which is STEM and IT and this kind of stuff, education, the art, and sport. Okay,
mm.
so I had an approval for NFT artist. She all she does is does NFTs, right? And it's not even on the wall. It's like digital. So there is no limit to what kind of profession could be approved for this type of visa. Another funny
Mm.
example is the person who organizes the space, right? Like she comes to Eurocash and she's like, okay, this sofa is not here. Like she restructures everything so it's like it's convenient to live in. It's stylish and it's like all this kind of stuff. Maybe with Zen, whatever they do this. So
Yeah.
like yeah, all kind of professions, regardless. If it's digital nomad or not, but they encompass all these contemporary professions as well.
Oh, perfect. All right, thanks. Hey, guys, let me remind you, if you're in the live with us, there's a free evaluation for you, regardless of the industry you're in. Make sure at the end of this thing, please go and sign up. You got 13 minutes consultation for free with the team at Shemaev Law Firm, at the business law. Please, 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 please go if you're trying to figure out what your criteria are to pass. All right, thanks. Anyway, next one. Let's go to the next question. This one I think is a bit more complicated in my opinion, but I'm going to ask you. So I'm a business owner.
Right.
All right, I will put me as a business case. All right, I'm a guy who's a business owner in a company in Singapore and a company in Indonesia. I now want to move. I have about 20 people working for me, both countries.
Yes.
I myself want to move my business and myself over to the US. So my question is and there are many people like this in Indonesia, across our communities, in Thailand, in Indonesia, everywhere. My question is, what are some of the best options for us when it comes to visas?
Good question. Good question. So you still have the O1 option, right? O1 is like almost universal visa for anyone. And
Mm-hmm.
the more I practice, the more cases I see, and the more problems of my clients I face, the more I'm of opinion that O1 can substitute any visa. Basically,
Oh, yeah.
because yeah,
Okay. Mm.
because otherwise I would start asking you, okay, Rukesh, you wanna move your business to the US. how many employees are you planning to have at the end of year one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you tell me any number less than five, like basically certain type of visa already doesn't fit you because it's all about employees and controlling them and growing, but that requires a lot of investment, right?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna pay US salaries. Same, and that's L1 visa, by the way, right? L1 visa is the visa for managers and top management and directors in the company to expand to the US. And it's like because you have to manage people, then you have to build a company with the employees in the US. So literally, it's the visa for people who are ready to invest $300,000 or more, because otherwise it's just not gonna work. Okay, it's not.
Also,
Gonna,
there's a paid up capital of at least $300,000
and
if you want
this
to.
number is not in the law, just to make it clear, right? It's not in the law. It's more from my experience seeing those businesses thriving on this type of investment. Eventual, it's not one-time investment, but as you progress, right? Because there's a switch to the green card, but for that switch to happen, we have to have at least 8 employees working in your US company with the structure, from you at the top, managers, and the linear employees. So that gets the resources, the stress, and all this to build. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that visa, although I do it constantly because some people just want that. Of course, E2 visa is also available to you. I'm not sure. I'm 90% sure Singapore is a part of E2 treaty, the agreement with the US to get that visa. Not all countries are part of this, but it requires $100,000 investment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not huge, but it's substantial, and it's a risk, because if things don't work, you're going to lose your visa and you're going to lose the investment, right? But with O1 visa, there is no requirements as to the money, as to the origin of the money, to the employers, and how you're going to develop your business. As long as your own company is real, you're going to perform and build the business out of it, and you work in your talent spectrum. That's all that you need. Okay, you, Rukesh, I know I didn't give you the free evaluation yet, but I know that I will definitely get you O1 visa if that's your intention and you want to expand. And same things that I said to those who watch us right now or watch later will apply to you as well. So yes, immigration field is filled with the visas, but there are certain options that are much better than others.
Yeah. So in essence, what we are saying is that whether you're a remote worker, whether you're a startup or business founder, just to sum this segment up, I think the best way for us to get anybody is to sign up for the evaluation, I guess, right?
Yes.
I think that's step one.
Do you know, did my people tell you how they sign up for the free evaluation? Because I can see that. Is it a link?
Yeah,
It's gonna be a
there is
link
a link.
somewhere.
Now, if you sign up for this, you get an email after this with a link to the website to sign up, put your name and email address and all that.
Okay.
We will do that.
Did people can people who did not sign up will have an option to watch this later somewhere, like on Facebook or YouTube?
Yeah, of course. So we'll link it all up after this.
Okay, so the links are going to be below this video, guys, who watching us after the live stream. And the free evaluation is, like Rukesh said, that it's almost like a free consultation, which other attorneys charge up to $500. You fill out the form. I take 2 days to analyze it, and then I send back you my response with analysis of your situation. And guys, look for one word: potential. If you see the word, but I told you have the potential, that means we can improve your petition for the next 6 months and get you approved. And get you approved. Okay, so that's very important, and you guys don't miss this opportunity. Don't miss it.
Yeah, but I want to add this thing. I was just watching the news the other day. I think you might laugh when I say this. It's a new $5 million gold that Donald Trump just talked about a couple of days ago. I know that might not apply to a lot of people in our community, but I never know.
You never know.
Even if wants to apply for say a slightly higher investor visa, so they're coming in with more than 100, 200 million, $10 million. Is that also, can we also walk through you and speak to you on how to do it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing with this, so let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, but guys, let me be clear. The $5 million gold card visa is just a talk. Yeah, nothing is confirmed yet, so don't please follow that. Donald Trump talks a lot of shit, so relax. But anyway,
Yes.
I'm talking about guys who are a bit more money, a big organization. If they want to come in and say, you know what, let's expand to the US, let's build in another $5 or $10 million into the US. Can you explain how their process looks like versus the people like us?
So as of right now, there is a large investment visa option for anybody who has high budget and high net worth individuals. And let me, I don't know why this is happening. Okay. So the way this program works is that if you have $800,000, you can go with a passive investment, invest like in a project in the US and do nothing and get a green card, or invest $1,050,000 to your own project and create 10 jobs in that company, right? So that's EB5 program, large investment visa. And it's an easy and fast way to get a green card for you and your family. And who's your family? And by the way, that applies to all visas. It's the spouses and the kids below 21, right? So that's the core family. It doesn't extend to like sisters, brothers, parents.
Oh, they apply for all the visas. So even an O1 visa and
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So
oh,
O1,
okay.
you get
Okay.
O1, your spouse, your wife, and your kids also come with you, right? And the kids can go to American public school for free. Some visas allow spouses to work, some don't. So we need to look deeper in which visa we're talking about. But EB5 gives you the residency, right? The green card that
Oh,
gets you to the US passport. So what Trump is actually talking about is he wants to substitute the existing EB5 visa for this gold card visa, right? And instead of like 800,000 and a million, he wants to bring $5 million. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's really it's just, it doesn't make much sense. But let's pretend they're serious about this, right? So first of all, I I believe that Trump cannot, through executive order, do this, especially stop EB5. Not sure about creating a new program, but definitely cannot stop EB5. Why? Because it was enacted by the Congress. Okay? So these are two different branches of power, executive and legislative. So he can, of course, he controls the Congress, and if they're serious, they can do this. But he cannot do it through the executive order. That's number one. Number two, if they really do this, I think it's going to be a mistake because EB5 is not already very popular. Only very few individuals in the world, comparing to the population, can afford to invest $1 million or give a loan for like 800,000, which is a proper term actually. It's a refundable loan. So making it 5 million is like, not too many people want it for $1 million. Why would they want it for 5 million? Unless they will allow to put that money in property or other assets. Because with EB5, you have to create the jobs through your own business or through the business of someone else.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And there is no option. And that, I get a lot of that question from my client Stanislav. Can I purchase like 2 apartments in Miami and get EB5? I'd be like, no, how are you going to create the jobs with those 2 apartments? There's 0 jobs. But if he allows to put that money in the property and other assets, that's when it becomes more attractive. Because then people don't have to think about the jobs, but they more think about their net worth and building their net worth through that 5 million, which they probably already wanted to invest in the US. So why don't you get a green card on top of that? So that's the only way I see that that gold card visa really work. Otherwise, if they're gonna keep it the way the EB5 works right now, it's gonna be just disaster.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's a good segue into what I wanted to ask you myself personally. What do you think has changed so much since 2025? Now that Biden is gone, Trump is in office, what do you see in terms of immigration, business, just the US in general? I
Yeah.
wanted to ask, what difference would it make for us today, and what do you think some of the plus points or the negative points are
So
for people to make the move?
yeah, so I love this question, Rukesh, because I know that a lot of people have a misconception about the political system in the U.S. and Democrats, Republicans. They don't really understand. So the misconception itself is as follows: Democrats are for immigrants, and Republicans are against immigrants. This is not so. This is actually not true at all, because Democrats are for illegal immigrants because they import the voters, right? They import the voters.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but yes, well, I disagree on that point, but it's okay because I'm a very I'm a left-leaning man, so
I totally respect that. I totally
yeah.
respect that. But I judge by the policy. It's not my thoughts. That's the policy the Democrats have and the policy that Republicans have. So actually, the legal immigration, O1, L1, E2, EB1, EB2, EB5, whatever you name the program, it's a bipartisan agreement. Neither Democrats nor Republicans are against it. They for it. They for it. With the little thing, if you look at the data, how many petitions, the chances of approval, and it's open public data, you can see how many EB1s were filed 2017 and how many of them were approved. So if you take the periods when Republicans were in power and when Democrats were in power, actually the approval rate with the Democrats is much lower. Much lower.
No.
So it's like, how, if everybody's for legal immigration and these are for illegal, and you know, Republicans don't like illegal immigration, why would the legal immigration be differently adjudicated throughout this process? So and nobody can answer those questions. So my opinion, and I believe it has a factual basis in the actual statistics, that with the Trump we have a higher rate approvals for illegal immigrants, faster track of people coming to the US, and it's just much easier way. And I know Trump talks a lot of things and a lot of bullshit, and he's a populist, and I understand many people don't like him personally, but his policies are pretty good. And we'll already see that our approval rate is 90% or more. But with the Trump coming, we see this. First, it's like, Rukesh, I know you're from Singapore, so, and you're a businessman, so you track the financial markets, right? So you know how those charts working. And usually the price of whatever asset, Bitcoin, gold, S&P, before going up, it does this. It goes down and then suddenly up, right? That's called it's called V-shape recovery, right? So, and that's what Bitcoin is doing right now by the technical analysis, right? It's doing this. So that's what we've seen with Trump when he was elected and became the president. It did this, like a lot of RFEs, a lot of like questions to the petitions, like a lot of negative influence. But now, when it a little bit stabilized the system, we see this. We see better approvals, faster approvals, adequate officers, thank God. And it's just, it's improving and getting better for legal immigrants.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's do it this way. A quick one I want to ask you, for everybody who's watching, no matter where you are, what are the 1 or 2 tips you will give people when they're applying for their visa to the US in 2025?
So, besides the free evaluation that people have to do to know the potential, right? That's the #1 advice because it's easy and fast. I would give one maybe simple but very important thing, and it's you guys need to pick up English, the English language. So I do recommend to learn it actually before coming to the US, because once you
That's a
come,
very good point. That's a
yeah,
good point.
because
Not
once
many
you
people.
come Rukesh, you know how
Yeah.
people, like, your English is perfect, right? But a lot of people, they may be struggling a little bit. So the idea is, okay, I'm gonna come to the US, I'm gonna learn. You're not gonna learn, okay? You're gonna find the people from your country, and that's it. You're gonna circle
Yeah.
yourself with it, and you're not gonna learn. And then you find a job, you just have no time, the kids, the whatever. So guys, learn English right now if you don't have the capability to express your thoughts freely, because if you don't, then you're going to be locked within your community and less opportunities. Okay, that's number one. That's simple. And second of all, guys, do not doubt your talents. Just don't. A lot of you, very talented people, be it a blogger, IT person, businessman, engineer, doc, whatever, they have, Rukesh, you know what imposter syndrome? Do you know what it
Of
means?
course.
You know it,
We
right?
all we all suffer from it sometimes, you know? We all
Right.
suffer from it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, Asian people
Yeah.
have a big imposter syndrome, and even it's
Yeah.
international. It doesn't have to do with the
Yeah, I
country,
think so.
whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what I noticed, Rukesh, that the more talented the person, the higher imposter syndrome they have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I agree
yeah,
with you. Yeah.
guys, remove that. Remove from, put different paradigm in your brain. Only seasoned and experienced attorney can tell if you have a talent. Okay, you can never tell that on the immigration laws, because you just, let's be clear, you just don't understand how it works. So don't have doubts, learn English, and get the free evaluation.
Perfect. I think that sums the whole thing up perfectly. So I think that was great. Is there anything you want to add in here before we go to a quick question and answer?
Um, I think we kind of extensively covered. We didn't cover actually all three visas. We covered O1 and EB1A, which is a continuation
Yeah.
of one to get the green card. We never
Yeah.
covered the third one, the NIW, the National Interest Waiver. I think we're gonna skip it for today for one main
Yeah.
reason, because we like the time. That's one, but also because this is very slow pace visa. If it's 8 months for O1, it's year and a half for EB1A. For EB2NIW, it's 2.5 years. Okay,
Wow.
so yes, it's good for digital nomads and other people who don't consider themselves digital nomads, but because it's a slower pace, it's just, we're not going to cover this today.
Okay. Anyway, you can ask your questions when you do your evaluation, guys, if you are all signing up. I'm sure the team at Shamayat Law Firm is going to take care of you guys. If you have questions about the visa types, I think that would be better if you do your one-on-one evaluation.
Absolutely.
I think it's very kind of you to actually offer us a 30 minutes free, because normally it's very expensive if anyone knows how much it costs to go and see an immigration lawyer, yeah?
Yeah.
So if you have a time, they're giving you a 30-minute free evaluation. Please sign up if you got any questions. And most importantly, I think what Studies Now is trying to get across to you is also the potential and the possibility of you to even do it. Don't make an effort if you know, if you get a free consulting and say no, it's going to be very tough for you. Don't give up also, but also, you know, you might want to work a bit more with them and figure out how you can do it better. All
Absolutely.
right. But that's all the different services after. But anyway, shall we jump into a Q&A if there's any?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Is there our moderators throwing any questions up for us? Or if you don't, let me check if Evelyn is around.
Okay, let me see.
I think so far I don't see any Q&As up here. So I think we should be good. But I'll ask another question since we have a couple of minutes here.
Yeah.
One more thing, Sailab. I'm asking, like, so for people who are from countries that do not allow dual citizenship, for example, there are some people with passports that only allow, say, a work visa and your own passport, right?
Yes.
Well, what are some of the options for that? Are they still on the OB1 visa? Are they can only do a 3-year visa, or what is their options for them? Or they have to just throw their
Yes.
visa or when they get the
Yes.
national? Yeah.
Absolutely. So both O1 visa and green card residency for EB1A they do not violate this rule. So because O1 is just working visa, it allows you to stay
Yeah.
and work, right? You don't get
Privilege, yeah.
any citizen or nothing like this. And the residency, the green card is also, it's not a citizenship, right? So it does not
Ah,
remove
yes,
it
right,
doesn't
yeah.
remove that passport from another country. Only if
Mm.
you're getting to the US passport stage and you like, but then it's like, okay, I'm already in the US, my kids here, my work here, so why do I need the passport from another country? So it's kind of, there's no contradiction here, right? So if the country allows dual citizenship, so you have it. If it doesn't allow, but you want the US passport, you kind of don't need the passport of the other country.
Okay, cool. All right, that's great. I'm guessing there's no other questions here from the community or anything.
Yeah,
What we'll
and the
do.
reason being because we were so clear in explanations and so
Perfect.
detailed.
Perfect.
Yeah, mamma mia.
We were so good in our
Yeah.
webinar.
You gotta find positive
But
things in everything, you know?
I know, I love you, man. You're the best. Yeah, we were so good that nobody wants to have a question with us.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just going to add this one time and remind everybody here. Please look out for the email after this webinar. There will be a link. Please go and sign up for your free consultation. That's one. If you do not get an email with a link, please follow us on our social media, all both. There'll be Sharia Business Law Facebook page, Digital Smart Bali, Digital Smart Asia, our LinkedIn pages as well. We'll also have the link for those who attended the webinar and a recap of the webinar if you need to watch it again. So
Yes.
please feel free. Everything will be up there. Go ahead and if you get a chance to speak to Stalis now as I have, you will enjoy it. Trust me. I
Yes,
love this guy.
thank
He's a
you.
great
Thank
man.
you, Rakesh.
All
Thank
right.
you. Yes, and thank you
All
for
right.
your time. Thank you for this
Anytime.
opportunity to address your community.
Perfect.
I love your energy, Rakesh. I like your vibe, and I cannot wait to meet you in Singapore in a couple of days.
Okay, well, you and me, we have a beer on Wednesday. We can, talk more after that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll continue our conversation so we could bring more
Thank
value to our communities.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much. Go and enjoy Bali. Don't waste your time with me anymore.
Thank you,
Go,
thank
go
you. I
enjoy Bali.
appreciate.
Go.
Take care. Take care. Bye
Okay,
bye.
see ya. Bye. Bye.